Staying on the hearing, this was the first time Attorney General William Barr testified before House Judiciary. The Attorney General did not testify during his tenure as Attorney General in the George H.W. administration. The Attorney General was threatened with a subpoena and potential impeachment by Democrat Chair Jerry Nadler if he did not testify. But Ranking Republican Jim Jordan said what started the Democrat attacks on A.G. Barr was when A.G. Barr said a year ago that the Democrats did, quote, spy on the Trump team. Right out of the gate, A.G. Barr went after House Democrats for trying to discredit him over the investigations into the abuses of power during the Obama administration in the Trump Russia and the Michael Flynn probes. Let's listen.
And furthermore, it was clearly established by the documents that the FBI agents who interviewed him did not believe that he thought he was lying. What the counsel concluded was that the only purpose of the interview, the only purpose, was to try to catch him in saying something that they could then say was a lie.
So it was an entrapment.
And therefore, there was not a legit. The interview was untethered to any legitimate investigation.
Okay, that's A.G. Barr talking about the Michael Flynn case. Let's welcome House Judiciary's Doug Collins. Congressman, it's great to have you back on. You were at the hearing. Your take on how it all went down?
Hey, Liz, it was great. It went down this way. Democrats talked, and didn't want to hear any answers. They didn't have to have Bill Barr there to start with because they didn't want to hear the answers, because this was for them a pent-up frustration of 18 months of not being able to accomplish anything tangible and a failure of Jerry Nadler's chairmanship. Because all they did was ask questions, and every time the Attorney General tried to answer them, they would cut him off. This was it was a sad showing of what the Congress can actually do when we could have actually tried to get answers, but instead, it was just this continual back and forth of them accusing Bill Barr of everything. As I said in the hearing today, I was surprised that they didn't come out and just say he was the author of the Common Cold, because they tried to ascribe everything that they thought was bad to him.
Was Attorney General William Barr in effect today accusing House Democrats of attempting to cover up abuses of power during the Obama administration by trying to go after him by attacking A.G. Barr instead?
Oh, if that was what he tried to relate a reference to him a couple of times. But let's be honest, Liz, that's what exactly the Obama-Biden administration did. Let's go back to who we were actually talking about these investigations that are going on right now with Durham. This was Peter Strzok and Jim Comey and Andrew McCabe, also Joe Biden and President Obama, who in the White House actually talked about unmasking General Flynn. These are the kind of people that were under the previous administration. But believe me, Democrats don't want to talk about that. That undermines their entire line of questioning, because when they got in power, all they're trying to do is defeat the president. They don't want to talk about the truth. I disagree just a little bit with my ranking member, and I agree with Jim on most everything. I agree that the spying was a problem, but I think the biggest problem they have with Bill Barr is he tells the truth and he doesn't back up, and that's the thing that they hate the most. He told the truth about spying. He told the truth about the Mueller investigation, and they can't stand the truth.
Yeah. And so we've got the Durham report. It's about to come out. We've got an election 3 months away. It seems that the Democrats are rattled by that. It got so bad that they repeatedly cut off Attorney General William Barr from answering questions, as you point out. And Jim Jordan and the 50-page report that you guys put out saying that, the Democrats are obsessed with William Barr after he said, yeah, the Obama team did spy on the Trump team. Let's watch this, what went down. Watch.
No, I gave instructions as to what
my time.
Yeah, I'm answering your question.
Well, you got to let him answer.
Reclaiming my time.
The effort there was...
Mr. Barr, I just asked for a yes or no, so let me just tell you, I'm starting to lose my temper.
We were not taking down public health orders. We were making narrow...
The gentleman's time is
we were calling attention to the fact...
Will you restore my time, because this witness is speaking over my time?
You went over time. Let the witness respond.
Why isn't it true?
June, I'll get to that, Mr. Barr.
I mean, does it have to do with quibbling?
I will get to that. Reclaiming my time. You answered the question.
Okay.
I have another question for you. On June 19th, of 2020.
Actually, I need to answer that question.
Mr. Attorney General, you did answer the question.
No, you said under penalty of perjury. I'm going to answer the damn question. Okay?
You said the answer was yes, is what you said.
Well,
are you saying no?
I think what I was referring to, and I'd have to see the context of it, was the supplying of documents.
No, Mr. Attorney General, this statement was not limited to the supply of documents. You stated at a press... Mr. Attorney General, reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
Well, that's how it went all day. Your reaction?
Liz, that's the American taxpayers can see what a Democratic majority looks like. If they want this to continue, then they can look today and see the failed chairmanship of Jerry Nadler. They can see these who did not want an answer. They threw it out there to perceive a question, but yet didn't really want to have it. And you know the one thing they stayed away from, Liz, just completely wanted to stay away from, is these, quote, peaceful protesters, the rioters that are tearing up our cities. You know, it came to a point where I had to finally ask the question today, what would be next? Would the Democrats on our committee actually think that we should stop them from maybe firebombing the Capitol or graffiti painting the U.S. Capitol? They didn't want to answer that. They wanted to stay away from that.
That's where they're at. All right. Interesting that you just said that. I want your reaction to what Jim Jordan said in his defense of Attorney General William Barr. Let's listen to this.
They used the dossier to spy on Carter Page, the salacious, unverified dossier. Jim Comey's words, not mine. They took it to the FISA court, didn't tell the courts that the Clintons paid for it, didn't tell the court that the guy who wrote the document, Christopher Steele, had already communicated to the Justice Department that he was, quote, desperate to stop Trump from getting elected. And guess what? There were 15 more lies that they told the court. 17 in total. They're outlined by the Inspector General, each and every one of them in his 400-page report. But guess what? Chairman Nadler refuses to allow Mr. Horowitz to come here and testify and answer our questions about the 17 lies the Obama-Biden administration told to the secret court.
I mean, is that what's really the issue, sir? I mean, the Mueller probe was, let's look at it, 19 lawyers, 40 agents, 2,800 subpoenas, $30 million. The FBI got to use powerful FISA wiretaps that catch way more information than a regular criminal wiretap. And they came up with zeros. They didn't have the Trump-Russia case. They didn't have the Flynn case, but they kept going. And was an attempt to delegitimize the incoming Trump administration and his 4-year term. I mean, is that what has the Democrats so rattled that they're taking buckshot rifles to AG Barr now?
I think it is. Besides having just an awful candidate for President Biden who can't remember where he's at most time, this goes back to covering up. They promised the American people when they won the majority that they would show that there was collusion in plain sight, that the president did all these things wrong, that they would be able to do it. And what actually happened was they failed every time. Mueller did not go the way they wanted. Every one of their hearings has been a disaster. Impeachment showed the world how terribly focused on the president was and not the American people. And what Jim is saying is exactly right. Why, if Chairman Nadler had competency as a chairman, he would actually call the Inspector General in to actually testify about this. But realize, Liz, they won't do this because that blows their entire theory of their case, and they're exposed as the emperor with no clothes. The Democrats have no case, but they want to make the American people think that it's all about President Trump and how bad he's been, but they've never proven anything, and they've proven how desperate they are for ideas in this country.
All right, Congressman Doug Collins, great to see you. Come back soon.